Okay, welcome to Smash Writing.
You said you wanted an intro song, so here you go.
That's enough. I didn't want to bang it off the only device I have now. Welcome to Smash Writing. I am your host, Paul. This is your host, Justin. Yes.
No!
Sorry, it's Joey now.
Start the move! Start it!
And today's edition of
We don't want to start this, win this battle, Nick.
Now, today's edition of Collective Monsters is we are reviewing the 1942
I think it's 43.
Dr. Jekyll.
1941, we're both wrong.
Okay, the 1941 Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Get us into the plot.
Before we get into the plot, why did we go with 41 instead of 30s?
So, the reason why we did it is actually more of me misunderstanding what pre-coded meant.
Why did that matter?
Because I didn't know if that was in the category of silent films and stuff like that. Now,
so we're eventually gonna have to circle back around and hit that one too.
We can probably add this into original versus remake and still review it, or unless you want to put it as.
Well, we don't want to do original versus remake on this one because there's like 10 remakes of this movie.
Yeah, we don't got time.
It's the mother of all remakes.
So now, in hindsight, I learned what pre-coded meant, and pre-coded meant was before the rules were in place for films to abide by for the ratings. This came out before that.
All right.
And the true fact is, when they wanted to re-release this in 1936, they had to cut out like 8 minutes of the film to abide by like the R rating code.
Yeah.
So but I didn't know that's what pre-coded movies meant because there's only a small group of them.
Yeah.
And it's like literally like 10 films or something like that. So
that's why we did. That's why you had me go toward 1941.
Yeah, because I didn't know that pre-coded was the same thing. So go and get us into.
All right, so the movie starts off with church with a crazy guy yelling about how it's more fun to be evil. Okay.
I mean, was he lying?
I mean, to a point, I guess, but they really pushed the little evil thing in this movie. But he gets dragged off, and Dr. Jekyll tries to see him, and he's going to give him a serum that he's created, and he dies out. He doesn't get a chance to test him with the experiment. And he's getting harsh feedback from everyone else who doesn't think he should be fucking around with this stuff anyway.
Yeah.
And he has this dinner and
he's a brilliant doctor. Like, they acknowledge that he's good. He's not like a joke or anything like that. Yeah, so he's not a joke. Like he's a world renowned. Yeah. I don't know if world renowned, but they make that.
He's going to be a hotshot doctor.
Yeah, and he's up and coming and everything else like that.
But when they had the dinner, they definitely go. He goes on to his beliefs that he believes that he could split the good and evil from people and make good thrive and diminish the evil. And this obviously creates a big issue, especially between him and the pastor, and the soul and the creator is the only one who can do that because, of course, they are. Giant mother. But anyway. He goes on to save this girl, Ivy, in the alley after the dinner.
Yeah, and a simple thing. She was getting mugged, and he comes to her rescue, and of course she's
smitten by him because it's like a generosity that she doesn't normally seem to get.
Right, and he takes her back to her place, and he kisses her.
Yeah, it's more like she kisses him.
Yeah, and then he has to reveal that he is in fact engaged, and he loves his fiancée.
Yeah,
who is Beatrix. Okay.
But it does later get him to actually make the serum in the first place. And he briefly becomes Hyde for a moment before taking the antidote and reverting back.
Right.
But then it's announced that Beatrix is going away. He's going to the continent with her dad.
Yep.
And Beatrix tells him that, I'll stay if you tell me to.
Yeah.
But he tells her to go because he doesn't want the trouble.
And the reason why, like, the dad likes Dr. Jekyll, but he's not a fan of their public love.
Yeah, and his
beliefs with his experiments. So that angers him to where he's like, oh no, Beatrice is coming with me, and it's like like a month or something like that.
Yeah.
So. And that takes him off.
That angers him enough to the point where he takes the serum again.
Yep.
becoming Hyde, and he goes out and he goes to the music hall. That's where he meets Ivy again, but this time it's Mr. Hyde, and he...
Jesus.
Will not use that word, but assaults her in the carriage and forces her to become his mistress. He moves her into an apartment, and she's more or less his prisoner. She can't leave. And she's being abused over the period of a month or two by Hyde.
Yeah, and her friends come over one day.
Yeah, and they see the bruises.
Yeah, and you're now this is kind of shocking me because I'm watching this is first time I ever actually truly saw Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, any form of it.
Yeah.
This is actually first. I've seen clips, but full movie. But then you go 1941. Whoa, this is a trend with these classic monster movies where the guys are 100% in full and maybe we're looking at it in today's eyesight because that's
this makes the others pale in comparison.
Oh,
what Hyde is doing Ivy is a 10.
Yeah, this is wrong in any generation.
And when her friend sees the bruises and everything, Hyde does show up and he scares her off and he's threatening to leave Ivy to go with Marisha, and Ivy doesn't want to do that because she's trying to protect her friend. That's the great thing about Ivy. She's a headstrong character who's in a tailspin because all this abuse is happening to her. And it's so against everything she normally is, and she doesn't know what to do.
Right.
But while that's happening, Beatrix comes back, and he swears off the serum while Beatrix is there.
Yep.
And then while he's running his doctor's office, Ivy shows up to get her bruises looked at. And she pretty much begs him for help because she realizes he's the one who saved her from the alley. And he can do it again. And in his mind, he's realizing what Hyde is doing.
Yeah. Right. And then, because once again, you have two different personalities with Mr. Hyde and Jekyll. And, you see Jekyll's I created this monster.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm doing to somebody. And that's not him. He doesn't want that to be his legacy.
Yeah.
And everything else like that.
But she swears off the potion again, and he goes out for a walk to go meet Beatrix at some party, and that's when he transforms into Hyde without the potion.
Yeah.
And he goes and confronts Ivy because he knows what she's done. They're the same person, and he kills her.
I think that was a shocker.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting Ivy to die in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, you understood, she got hurt and everything else like that, and I get that, but then when you seen, her die, you're this has to be, the first, real death of, a character in these monster movies that...
people are, rooting for, kind of.
Yeah, you wanted her to live.
Yeah. But before he strangles her to death, she does get out and scream, and that alerts everyone else in the house. And he's pretty much on the run now. And he can't get into the lab because he's destroyed the key. So he has a friend go pick up the ingredients, and he meets the friend. And the friend doesn't want to give him this because it's this guy's fucking crazy. But he does give it to him, and he makes the transformation back to Jekyll.
Dr. Jekyll, yeah.
And again, he's I don't know what I'm going to do. This transformation was out of my control.
Yeah, now he realizes he's in deep shit.
Yeah, and he goes to call off the engagement with Beatrix.
Yep.
And he becomes Hyde again.
Uncontrolled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he attacks Beatrix, and their dad comes out, and he beats the dad with his cane, breaking his cane in the process. And again, he runs. People are after him. He runs all the way home, and he breaks into his lab. But his friend recognizes the cane, and he knows what's happened, and he takes the police straight to Jekyll.
Yeah.
And Jekyll's refusing. He's I'm not Hyde. And he's yeah, you are. You need to confess now. Because the cops aren't buying it. That's respected Jekyll. What are you talking about? And while he's confessing to this, he transforms into Hyde in front of them. And he attacks him, and his friend ends up shooting him. And that's the end of the movie.
Oh my god.
This movie was dark. I was not expecting this movie to go dark.
This one was...
the other ones are dark, but they're cheesy dark. Hokey dark.
Yeah, you almost wanted to take it serious, but not serious enough. This one was...
Holy shit.
You know what, though? It takes that Predator thing to a whole new level.
Yeah.
The darkness, and I'm not talking about the screen coloring, I'm talking about...
The monster within.
Yeah.
When people are truly capable of doing at their most heinous.
Yeah, and that's the theme of this thing. Is like, he goes from this well-respected doctor who's a very kind man, wants to do the right thing, and then, Mr. Hyde is the complete opposite.
Yeah.
My God, he's assaulting, and he's victimizing this poor woman. And there's no way that she can get out of this. Like, unfortunately, it comes at the expense of her life. And her and Beatrix is, truly the innocent, probably the most innocent characters of this whole film.
Yeah.
And they ended up, Ivy dying and of course, Jekyll dying. It's dark.
But, I thought the acting was spectacular. Spencer Tracy's Jekyll and Hyde was great. His ability to go back and forth between the two. Ingrid Bergman, though, who played Ivy, was incredible as the abused character. The abused character.
Yeah, and you've seen it,
her turmoil of like every ounce in her being wants to fight back and she doesn't know how and she knows she can't.
Right.
And
she started off a strong-willed character too. Yeah. Like you got to see the movie did like it's still a short movie by today's lengths, but longer for this class, this period.
Well, it was still pretty long. It's like I have it up here right now. Actually, it's 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Really?
Yes.
It did not feel like that.
This is a long movie.
That's the shock to me because it actually does not feel 2 hours. I thought it was like maybe an hour and a half.
No. It was 2 hours and it was a long movie.
But it didn't feel...
No, it couldn't have been. It's closer to an hour and 48.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it... But nevertheless, it's
still... looking at it, it says 2 hours and 7 minutes, but I think that's wrong.
Are you looking at the 31?
No, I'm looking at 40.
Huh. Okay, but even in range, I mean, it's still a long movie for its time.
Yeah, the Wikipedia has it at 127 minutes.
Wow.
That's 2 hours and 7 minutes.
That is crazy. But you know what? I'll be honest with you, though. It did not feel like that.
No.
I mean, I know it didn't feel like it to you because you did it in full.
Oh, yeah, I watched it on double speed.
You're like, no. I gotta watch this in supersonic speed.
It made the music call so much more funnier.
Like when he's also like belittling people and fighting the bar in the music too.
Well, whenever there were like deep conversation scenes, I did slow down so I can actually understand
what they were saying. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is, we've been doing this for quite a while now, and this might be becoming my favorite.
Jekyll and Hyde?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is S tier movie. It's a great movie.
The thing is, and we explained at the beginning of this episode why we went with this one because of a misunderstanding. But the first one was an Academy Award winner, and this was considered less than that one.
Yeah.
And that shocks me because, like I say, we're watching this and...
Well, the thing is, like, the book, this does stray from the book. In the book, it doesn't actually tell you... Like, Jekyll creates the serum because he has an evil side to him that he likes, a debauchery that he enjoys. But if it got out, it would ruin him. But the book doesn't tell you what it is.
Yeah.
And when he takes the serum, he becomes a younger self. He becomes like 20 years old. And the way he evaluates that is because he doesn't give in to his evil side. So while he's pushing 50, his evil side is like 20.
Right.
Because it's not as fat. And as it goes on, that evil side becomes more wild. But it's still human.
True.
And I think like this does a good job at that. Like he becomes wide-eyed and spectacled, and
teeth bends up.
His teeth starts end up crooked whenever he starts becoming more wild. I feel like
his face actually does completely change.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's the same actor at that point.
I think it is because the only actor I saw on the list was with Jekyll and Hyde, and that's Spencer Tracy.
So now we're on talking to the practical effects of changing that appearance.
Yeah, that was actually really good how they did it.
Yeah, and they showed you they actually did it in like a slower speed of showing, his, towards the end they did his personality first. But then, I'm not Mr. Hyde. That's him denying because now he's in high mode because we see that the film, he loses control of that.
Yeah.
But then you do see.
Even that fight scene though was brutal with him locked in that room and the cops are trying to break in and he's smashing the glass and trying to jump around them.
Yeah.
That was a wild fight scene.
This was intense for a film that's in 1940.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about some of the other monsters that we have done, or the sequels to ones that we are going to do, and it takes place in 40. This is probably the extreme of the extreme.
Yeah.
The practical effects obviously changed them. I thought they did a wonderful job to the point. Even I'm questioning if it was truly a different actor, but they did the changing of the foot. And mind you, like once again, today's time, that's done bad. But you got to think like, they don't have HD cameras, CGI, and all that, and they did it like that, where you could see his transformation. I thought it was a wonderful job.
This is up there with Invisible Man with the best of what we've seen so far.
For the effects?
Yeah, well, just in general.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
But definitely effects too, because Invisible Man was the best one up to this point with effects.
Yeah, because they used more of it.
Yeah.
I think, you give that a high praise for a different reason, because their effects is they had to constantly do that. This one was like, we only got to do...
When we're showing him transform,
then we can keep the makeup on him to look completely different. I mean, giving it a grade.
S tier. This is great.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
I don't think you could give it anything
it's dark, twisted. They really honed in on like this guy's pure evil guy.
Yeah, I mean,
there's nothing.
They did a wonderful job breaking down every evil element of him.
Yeah,
the name calling. Starting the fight and then assaulting, a woman that...
Well, even that though, like you saw that this is a woman that Hyde had saved before. Jekyll had saved before, and then the way Hyde treats her. Yeah,
completely opposite. And
it's almost like he's hurting himself.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's punishing himself in a way because this is a mistress in general, and Hyde is punishing her because Jekyll's admiration for her.
Like, I know we both agreed at giving it S. Is there any cons to this movie?
No. I know there's a couple of scenes I didn't really care for, like the dream sequences kind of deal when he's spread out and look bad.
Yeah.
But I don't care enough. Like, I think that's 1941.
Yeah, and that's nitpicking a little bit too much. S movie, and you want to...
I don't really... It's a bit of a long movie.
But see,
it doesn't feel that way.
And that's like, okay, now you're getting into the pacing. I'm okay with watching a 2-hour long movie.
Yeah.
But you gotta pace it.
Yeah.
To where I'm gonna sit here and go, oh, I didn't know that was a 2-hour long movie.
We're gonna get to a movie that did the pacing really badly soon.
Oh, are you what?
Well, we'll talk about it when we get there.
Okay.
But this was paced well, and it was enjoyable.
Now, I don't think this won any awards, which is a shame.
I think it did. It was nominated.
Nominating, or did it win? That's what we...
It was nominated for Academy Award winner in Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing, and Best Music Score.
How the hell... What came out in 1941 that they lost to that?
Yeah, they lost all three of them. They didn't win.
My God. That is a scam. Somebody didn't like that. But... that is our episode for today. Winner.
Next up, Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Be my Frankenstein.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.